Good morning. Okay, let's see if I can change the camera angle a little bit. There we go. How's everyone doing this morning? Good morning. Good morning, Way. I'm just code spinning on my artist in residence Masha Craft aura wheel, and yesterday I switched to the overdrive head, which is massive, and with that I can really pack up a lot of yarn on it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much yarn I can actually put on this, make some textured yarns. I do have to figure out, I need to make some fiber bats, because I have some very nice ones which I'm not very sure if I want to use them right away. Maybe I will, but I think I will still need to make some fiber bats. And I made this one out of some of the fiber from millets that I had. There's not much interesting stuff going on here, but I was like, let's just get in the rhythm of using the overdrive head, make sure the take up and the twist is how I like it. So if that looks good, then I'll move on to another bat. I don't have much of this bat left. It was just a small piece. And I can have the core spinning really smooth if I keep my finger underneath the yarn, which smoothens the yarn like out here as it piles on. But if I lower my hand, it doesn't get that pressure, with which it lands up being a lot more fluffier. You can see how it becomes thick and thin. So just by moving my hand up or down, I can change the look of the fiber, which is neat. Hi Tanya. Oh, you have an aura as well? That's cool. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out the best camera angle and everything, and things changed once I put the overdrive head on. It's so big that I had to move back, and then can't get the whole view shot of the wheel and the bobbin and my hands. And I think for the most part, the view of the hands is a lot more interesting than just the just looking at the bobbin spinning. You're learning how to use it. Yeah, it's a process. It's I when did I get the wheel? I think it's been around 10 days, I think, or maybe a week, I don't know, but I have been on this week almost daily, and I have come from Scotch tension, so all my previous wheels have been Scotch tension wheels. So this is a nice change, but it takes a little time to get used to it. But it's initially it didn't feel very intuitive, but just in a week, the more I'm using it, the more I feel that, oh, it makes sense. So this bat that I am going to be spinning now, it's actually only a partial bat, is from Atomic Fiber Company, and this was gifted to me by my friend Kent. Merino, sari silk, nylon, and sparkle, and it's called Earthen, and it has all my favorite colors in it. The core that I'm using is just this. It's kind of a very grabby woolly yarn that I got on a big, huge cone. I think it's a 3-pound cone or something. So I just wind off some of it, and I'm using that. And I've liked this, and I usually like just plain acrylic core as well, but this time I just decided to use this one. Excuse me. I also have a nice mohair kind of core, which I do like, but I'll end up getting a thinner yarn with that. So if I want a thicker yarn, rather than loading it up with more fiber, I prefer using a thicker core and just, plumping it up that way. Oh, you had most double drive wheels. Yeah, so then you would be kind of comfortable with the whole concept of having 2 drive bands, I think. No, I don't use an energized single. I usually don't have to spin it again in the opposite direction to remove the energy in it. I don't spin very fast. I try my best to have minimum amount of twist in my core. So it has some twist, so you can see, but you can see it's the kind of twist which would just dissipate. After steaming, it's fine. I would add, I could even spiral ply this and stuff and balance it out that way, But like you can see, this has absolutely no twist, extra twist in it. So don't, I try my best not to add too much twist onto it, so I don't have that problem of extra energy in the core. And yeah, for the most part, it remains fine. Sometimes when I have used acrylic yarns, let me go ahead and actually prep this while I'm talking. When I've used acrylic cores which are thicker, they tend to get extra twist in it. Those, if by steaming that twist doesn't come out, I do kind of like a wash with it, like a hot wash, and that usually removes the twist. And hot and cold wash, it kind of felts it up a little bit, so that usually removes the twist. And but if after that the twist is still kind of there, and I would like it completely balanced, after doing that felting process, I pass it through my wheel one more time to remove that energy. But that has like rarely happened. I've not felt the need for it. Initially, when I started core spinning, I used to do that a lot more because, I was adding a lot more twist to my core. But over time, it's not been that bad. So I think this will be a fun core spin now because, we have all this fun textures happening. I do like a, slightly stronger take up, and I let the core just flow through my hands. I'm not holding it back at all almost. So that's the other thing that prevents my core from getting a lot of twist in it. And the other thing that helps me is you can see how close I am to the orifice. So, it gets only so much time to build some twist in it. After that, when it's gone in there, there is no twist issue. So you can see there's, I can pull out some of it, and you can see there is just, very very slight twist in this. That will easily come off in when I am just steaming it will take care of that, so it's not usually an issue. Fulling the core spun, yes, it can remove some of the fluffiness, but I would do the fulling only if it had that extra twist. But then also I would be most likely spinning it in the opposite direction. So when I do spin it again after the fulling in the opposite direction, it fluffs it up again. But again, I'm not like very aggressively fulling it. I'll just go one hot water and one cold water wash. So it's not a very excessive fulling. It's not with much agitation. I just kind of want the fabrics to kind of grip onto the core a little better if I want to remove that twist. Yeah, that's what I've heard. The Aura is a hybrid double drive, and I absolutely love this wheel. The thing which I was concerned with, one of the things is because I knew I kind of wanted to try the overdrive head because it's huge. It's I think it's 32 ounces, and it's massive. You can see the size of it. Let me see if I can move my camera up. But it's the width of my hand. It's bigger than that, completely stretched. So in that respects, it's really big. But I thought, it might be more of a struggle to treadle and all of that. I don't know how that would work out, but actually it is. It feels just like I was spinning um, on the standard head. So because I did core spinning on the standard head, I did some regular, very fine yarns. So I did this. Um, I spun this up on the regular head. Let's see if it focuses better a little further away. But yeah, so I did this. My preference used for core spun. I like core spun yarn for weaving for the most part. I have knit a hat with core spun yarn, and uh, that was one of the yarns I remember that I had fulled a little bit and removed that extra twist, and that I'd knit a hat with it. And so I like it. I like it very much for that as well. So that I would consider my weaving project as a large project because it was close to 5 yards of fabric that I wove. But again, I didn't use my core spun yarn in the entire thing. It had accents, it had a few regular yarns, and you know, I actually totally during this last few months, I have woven 15 yards of sari weaving, and I have used a lot of my core spun yarn for that. So move my head. The overhead drive, I guess you could say it's for production, yes, but the regular size bobbin also has actually a pretty big capacity. I think it's like at least 6 or 7 ounces, so that should be, if you're spinning fine yarns and stuff, that's more than enough. You really don't need an overdrive, I think. What I wanted to do is like I core spin and then I use the core spun yarn to make other yarns. Like I'll do spirals or super coils, add further texture or lock. Those are the kind of things I plan on doing. So a 3 ounce bat core spun, just core spun, fits fine on the standard bobbin, which is what I had done earlier. But then when I went ahead and started to spiral ply it and stuff and do all my extra textures, it wouldn't fit on that. So for that reason, I was like, okay, for that I need the overdrive. But then I thought that it might be quite a pain to keep switching between one head to the other. And that part isn't, it's not too hard, but at the same time, it takes time and, kind of setting up the wheel again. Uh, so, so this time around, I said, okay, let me see if I can core spin on the overdrive head and do my spiral plying and everything on this itself, and how comfortable that feels. So this is the first time I'm trying core spinning on this, on the overdrive, and I'll show you what I had done with my. So the core spun that I had done earlier. So this is the overhead drive. You can see it's as wide as my hand, and even across it's as big as my hand. how light of a take up you for spinning thin, and are you using the woolly binder? Seen it, haven't seen you reach over the changing hooks. Yes. So yes, you can do a very light, very light take up on the aura, and that's what I like about it. So I usually, I my default yarn is kind of like a DK weight, sport weight, or worsted weight. But if you look at, I made samples. This is a 2 ply and a 3 ply of the finest I'm able to spin. You can change the tension on it very easily. And I have spun all these yarns, lace weight. This is also pretty fine, almost fingering weight. This gets a little bit on the thicker side, which is more my default kind of yarn that I land up knitting. For knitting, I like a little bit thicker yarn. I don't usually knit with very fine lace weight, but you can totally do it. And this is all done on the standard flyer. This is worsted weight. I went all the way up to bulky, and that also worked out pretty well. So you can do all of that, plus you can do the Corespinning textured yarns. It's a really flexible wheel as such. It does take a little bit getting used to, and on all my other wheels, I didn't make so many notes as to what setting I needed, because Scotch tension is like, oh, when you need more pull, then you do this. If you want more take up, you just increase your Scotch tension and you're good to go. It's more straightforward that way. Here it takes a little bit of knowing as to how to set it up, but it does get very intuitive. I've been using the wheel only for a week or so, and it is pretty intuitive as to how to set it up. And the interesting thing is also that you can create the same kind of yarn on different settings. Oh yes, you can totally knit with cord spun. I've knit a hat with cord spun. What else I have knit with a cord spun yarn? I've done gloves, like big chunky gloves with them. I really like it for weaving though, sauri weaving, very textural weaving, and just having like a few strands of it, not even like a whole lot, but hats are good, and it's such a warm hat. And actually what I did in that core spun for the hat was, my fiber was actually a top prep, and it actually from Homestead Hobbyist. I actually core spun that because I really like the streaks of colors in it. And so you don't have to core spin bats, you can even core spin top. No, it doesn't come apart. It's so core spinning is, the real strength and everything of the yarn is the core. This is my understanding. So and the fiber on top is really like decoration that's done on that yarn. So yeah, entire strength and of the yarn and the properties of the yarn, everything really depends on the core. And if you put extra twist in that core, then that's how your yarn is going to behave. The fiber that you're putting on top, like you're seeing me do right now, is basically like decoration that you're putting on top of the yarn. So yes, it's not like like a traditional yarn like this where every fiber is lined up and really tightly packed in, and all of that. But this results in a very textured yarn, and so that's the property it has. Like you can see even now when it's it's spun up, it still has some texture. It has some thick and thin parts. It has some, you know, blurs coming out of it. But I I I actually enjoy knitting with it a lot because it gives you those thick and thin parts. Or you could consider, well, the sample which I had out here, this is a 3-ply out here. This is a 3-ply, but this is essentially, you're not even changing the plies. It's the ply is basically whatever is in your core. That's basically your yarn. You're just making it look pretty with fiber around it. See what I'm saying? But what you can do is you can 3-ply your core spun, which is what I've done here. So that is a 3-ply of my core spun yarn. So it results in a very bulky yarn, as you can see. But you could also core spin very fine if you have a very fine core and you put a very fine layer of fiber over it. You could spin it, means it'd still be like at least worsted weight or something, I guess. But it's possible. So like this is also core spun and plied into a 3-ply, but it's you know, it's a lot finer than this. So this was just core spun, really soft, and that's the thing with core spun. It's really, you can have it very soft, very fluffy, and it's very delicious to knit with. So this is another core spun that I did by adding an auto wrap around it. So that's the other thing. So yeah, so regarding drape and bias, that is what depends on how much twist you're landing up adding into your core. If your yarn is balanced after you have core spun it, I at least have to steam it to balance it out. So if I have steamed it, it balances out. Sometimes I do wash them as well. And if it's balanced out, then the drape, there is no bias to it. It's fine. And like, if you feel that your yarn does have significant twist to it, then I would do the hot and cold wash to kind of full it up a little bit, but not a whole lot. You don't want it totally felted. And then once it's dry, and if it still has a twist, you can spin in the opposite direction to remove that extra twist and get it balanced. And that results in actually a very fluffy and soft yarn, because once you're spinning in the opposite direction, the fiber fluffs up around the core, and but still, because you have folded it a little bit, it still stays intact with the core. It doesn't just fall apart. Like if I was to spin it in the opposite direction, it's still a grabby core, so it'll still grab it, but it will come loose. It just lands up becoming a lot looser. But if I do that, if I fold it a little bit and then do it, then it kind of stays on. Now that answers your question. So this is a very textured art bat, so it has threads in it and sari silk and locks and all kinds of crazy things happening here. But definitely give it a try, and you can core spin on your regular aura head as well. That's how I did the previous one. I only, when plying it, I went to the overdrive head. I keep messing up the name, whether it's overdrive or overhead. It's actually overdrive. So and you kind of want to make sure. So the only thing I'm doing with, you can see how the core is wrapped around my fingers. It goes from my hand and it goes between these two fingers and down below here. And I'm not really pulling back when I'm core spinning. Um, I'm just pushing it over. And oh yeah, Michael also asked the question regarding whether I have a woolly winder on it. No, I don't. I am manually moving my hand. So since this is such a big bobbin and it's so huge, I don't need to be, moving it that often. So it's kind of like the default. It's similar to the one which is on the Hansen mini spinner. So it's a slider, it's not a hook system. So the more you move, the more even you'll get it. This bobbin is so huge, so I'm kind of not worrying about it a lot. And the interesting thing about I have found about this wheel so far is that even when it's full, that I don't need to change the settings much of the wheel. Like I know on the Scotch tension, I kind of had to, either you speed it up or you increase your take up. So all those things you have to do. I think my cone has fallen down. Yes, it has. It's not like, why is it not flowing out freely? There we go. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I'll just answer to the best of my ability. I am not a very experienced spinner, but I definitely do experiment a lot because I like to learn. So I'm just speaking based on things that I have done and what I've tried and that have worked for me. So the best way to learn, I think, is to just try, see what works for you, because you might be the person who doesn't like the process of core spinning. When I get a bat, that's the only place my mind goes to, that I just want to core spin it. I have, spun bats like regular yarn, but core spinning is a lot more fun. Did you make the art bat? No. So this particular art bat is actually from Atomic Fiber Company. This is part of their bat club. This was given to me as a gift from my friend Kent, and I used some of it earlier, but I still had some of it left, so that's what I'm using. Well, yeah, definitely come on over, watch. I'm glad you're enjoying my spinning, and yeah, give core spinning a shot. It's fun. And I do make my bats as well. I've made and I've also sold some bats. I still have 2 of my own bats available on my website, creativewithclay.com. They are not so textured, but they are textured art bats, but not as much. They're a little smoother than this. Yeah, I don't know exactly how her bat club works. I got this as a gift, but I think he got several of her bats together. Um, it's not means you could get once a month or something, but I guess he got like 4 or 5 bats at the same time, and he found this to be my colors, which they totally are. That's why I was saving it up. I mean, and I have spun with this bat. The other advantage of core spinning, which I don't know if Tanya is still here or if she has left, is that you get a lot more yardage for the amount of fiber than you would get if I wanted a bulky yarn out of this bat and I was spinning it just as is, I would barely get any yardage. But if I am core spinning, I can use a very thick core and just dust it with this. It will still look like a pretty nice yarn representative of that bat, but I'll get a lot more yardage out of it. So that is something to consider as well. Bobbin is filling up. go. Done with that bag. Well, no, I do have some more of it, which I'll probably spin later. I've been on for 40 minutes or so. Well, I'm glad that I make it look easy. It takes practice. And, the best thing I can tell you if you're fighting with your wheel for it is to reduce your speed significantly, which really helps in avoiding extra twist to the core. And don't let your twist go down to your source of yarn. This is the way I hold it. I'll just give you a quick tip. Is basically I hold it from going from the orifice. Hey, Avenita. So I hold it from the orifice, going between my fingers, and then down here. So, so yes, Avenita, I am spinning, core spinning this morning. And I was going to sign off, but now you're here, I'll spin for a little bit more. How about that? Yes, I have a very crazy art bat that I am spinning here. This was an art bat made by the Atomic Fiber Company, and which I got as a gift from my friend Kent, and my colors. So I like to just attenuate the fiber a little bit. Not required. If you want it more textured, I would just leave it as it is, but it just depends. Oh yeah, definitely a lot better. I don't know what it is, but the extra spinning that I was experiencing, I'm not experiencing it now. And I don't know if it is because I'm spinning in the clockwise direction and not plying this time. So that I still need to figure out. And this is a bobbin which was making a little bit of an extra noise, but it's reduced significantly by just adding a little lube on the shaft, and it's fine now. But yeah, no, it's been spinning pretty smoothly, and when I stop, it stops pretty much. There is a little bit of spin back which happens, but when I core spin, I also am spinning pretty slow, so it's not that bad. When I was plying a little bit faster than this, so when I stopped, it used to spin out. But if I did a slow stop, I was fine. But the wheel is definitely getting some use. I really I'm getting a little concerned about how much fiber I'll need to keep filling up these jumbo bobbins. But also this morning I was thinking that I said just because the bobbin is so big, I don't need to really fill it up every time. It's fine how much ever I fill it up and ply or do whatever. Um, but yeah, Don't you like that sound? I wish that was a sail, but it's not. I do need to send you some pictures this morning, Avanita. I need to still take pictures. I haven't taken any pictures of my newly spun up yarn, so I shall do that this morning. Well, it's 10:30. It's still morning. My cone has fallen. Every time I feel a pull, it's not a seal. It's the notifications that I put on my offer up for things that I'm looking for. So where anytime there's a notification, it makes the same sound as my Etsy sale, which is weird. Yeah, Susie packs yarn after yarn. That sounds like a good plan, and that's what I'm thinking I'll do. I'll just keep packing it on when it's full, and then when I'm playing with it or playing with it, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I have it on my Etsy seller app as well, and that does do it. It's not my legs that's cracking. So that's the cracking sound which this particular bobbin is making. And there is just some play in this particular bobbin, but in the previous bigger bobbin, it's not that bad. And actually, on this bobbin, it was a lot worse. There was a lot of play in it, but I did add some lube, and that helped. So uh, we are still trying to figure out exactly why that's happening, but hopefully it won't be a continuous problem. So it's not the wheel, it's actually there is just a slight play where the bobbin is sitting on the shaft, and it's definitely not my legs. Thank you for the concern. Yeah, my Etsy app also makes that same sound, but it's slightly different. So that's how I know that wasn't a sale. I dropped my cone again. I like that deep blue popping next to all this warm colors. I actually have to send out my newsletter today as well, because November 25th is the last day. My cone keeps falling. November 25th is the last day to place your made to order items from my shop. So that reminder needs to go out for to the customers who want to order for the holidays. November 25th is only 3 days away. Because pandemic or not, the clay still takes the same amount of time to make and dry. And I need to work on that. But I do have an update in my shop that I'll be having end of this week. My cone has fallen again. That's why I like that big cone. This is a tiny cone and it's not stable right now. I do have thing I can put this on. I can put the cone on this thing, which will help stabilize it. There we go. Just last bit of fiber left. Might as well just spin this up. I just keep wanting to save this. It's been a while that I've been saving this. I've been spinning bits of it here and there, but I think today I'll just spin it all. I'm running out of fiber bat stash. I need to dye some fiber as well because I have some colors, but I'm missing some nice bright colors. Like I have light colors, I have duller colors. Most of them are from mill end, so it's not stuff that I've dyed, but I'll use that and add in some of my crazy bright colors, vibrant colors, saturated colors, and I can make some interesting bats out of it. That's the hope. Would you like a view of the bobbin while I'm spinning? So there you go. Let's see if I can move the angle a little bit. There, that's what it looks like right now. Crazy, huh? Wondering what is on screen. That was the sample cards I was showing. Okay. Yeah, it's filling up. This is, I think, half. I think this total bat was around 3 ounces, out of which I know I used probably an ounce or ounce and a half. So this is 2 ounces of bat essentially. Maybe less than 2 even. So core spinning really takes up a lot of room. So that's why the overdrive really helps, because you need that space for all that fluff to go on. This could clearly fit on the regular bobbin as well. So I kind of have to figure out how I kind of want to go about switching out the heads every now and then. Do I core spin a bunch on the regular heads, and then when it comes to plying time, you know, switch over to the overhead and then do all the plying and all that? I could just keep core spinning on one of these bobbins and then do the plying on the other one. That works as well. But also I don't want to forget what I have core spun, because I might be core spinning with a plan to do something with it. Right now I'm just core spinning this to be a core spun yarn. Or I might ply it, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, because also at the same time, it's because it's not like a simple switch of bobbin. You kind of need to, you know, remove the overdrive head and put the other regular head, and marking the positions of the head will help, and so hopefully it won't be too tedious. But still, it's like, you know, I don't want to be doing that every time you sit on the wheel. And the main reason of me trying to core spin on the overdrive head was to see whether it's as comfortable as core spinning on the regular head, because on the regular head it was great, and I really am finding no difference whether I'm spinning on the overhead or overdrive head or the regular one. So that's kind of nice. Like, it's not like I have to treadle harder or anything. That's what I'm liking about the wheel, that even though it has such a big bobbin on it right now, just the spinning doesn't feel very different, which is what I had heard, but it's kind of nice to experience it as well. And Evanita, can you hear that rattling sound? This is like almost, I would say, 70% better than what it was when I set it up initially. And it didn't happen with the previous, with the other overdrive bobbin, which I did plying on. That was absolutely quiet, no issues at all. So there is just a little bit of play in this or something. I don't know. The lubricating that shaft on it and all did help, but it's still there. And especially when doing that first one, when there was absolutely no sound, moving to this, and this was a lot louder than this, I was like, okay, something is really wrong here. But yeah, that lubrication did help though. And it was mostly to, you know, kind of add it to the between the shaft and the bobbin, so the bobbin kind of floated on the shaft, and that's what kind of reduced the sound. So I might try Susie's other recommendation of adding some fluff in there, because I think the rattling is not with the bobbin going back and forth, it's the bobbin striking against the shaft. Yeah, no, for now I'm good, It's the thing, it's like the reason why I was asking is, it's a new wheel, it's a new setup. So there are things which I don't expect. I just don't want to be doing things incorrectly and causing damage in any way. So that's the reason why I asked so many questions. I'm like, is this supposed to happen? Am I doing something wrong? Have I messed up somewhere? Should I have tightened something somewhere, or have I tightened something somewhere too much, and stuff like that. So I think I'm good with this right now. And yeah, I think if there are new bobbins, which I hear are much lighter, uh, that would be definitely worth trying out. Oh, there was some foreign object I felt in there. That did not, that just poked my finger, so I need to remove that. I know Atomic Fiber Company, she washes her fleeces and then dyes them and all of that. So there can be pieces of hay and stuff in her bats. But they're not very common. But this just kind of like poked me in the hand, and I was like, okay, that didn't feel right. I still feel it's there. Ah, there it is. Oh, it was such a small piece, I can't even like hold it in my hand. It was really pokey. Okay, just a little bit of this bat left. Alright, that is it. So see, this one I stopped and the bobbin stopped as well. It's not happening now when I'm code spinning, but I'm code spinning a lot slower than I ply, so maybe that's the reason. But yeah, and that's it for now. And I do like the way it came out, and this will make a fun yarn just as it is, but even plying it or doing a spiral ply or something will be fun. Yeah, the speed is at play. It's like while plying I'm definitely uh, you know, treadling a lot faster, and when I stop, the bobbin, just with the inertia, just keeps going on, and it was unwinding the yarn a lot. But now it's not happening, and even with the plying, if I just do a slow stop, it didn't happen at all. So it's all got to do with the speed and inertia, which is what is different from the overdrive versus the regular one. In the regular one, I didn't notice any of that happening. So it's all figuring out the nuances of a different wheel, how things change. But yeah. Anyway, I have been on for more than an hour, which I didn't plan on. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for everyone else who was watching and asking questions about the wheel, and I hope I answered everyone about what I have been learning throughout. So I hope you have a pleasant rest of the weekend, and see you next time. I will be doing some sock knitting sometime today on the machine. So stay tuned. If your notifications are on when I go live, you will see it. So, alright, and I will take pictures and stuff today as well. Lots of stuff to do. Small stuff. It'll take up the whole weekend. Alright, take care. Bye.